Commander Jathik's three eyes narrowed as he watched the humans stumble through the docking bay of the Eternal Conviction. Lieutenant Sarah Chen looked impossibly small against the backdrop of the Galactic Coalition's flagship, her worn flight suit a stark contrast to the gleaming biomechanical armor of the Kriksathi warriors surrounding her. "This is your expert pilot?" Jathik's mandibles clicked in what passed for skepticism among his kind. "The one who will help us breach the Void Armada's defense grid?" Ambassador Valor, a floating crystalline entity, pulsed with diplomatic patience. "The humans have proven unconventional in their approach to warfare. Perhaps that is what we need." Sarah ignored the whispers that followed her across the hangar. She'd heard it all before. Too young, too soft, too human. Let them doubt. Doubt kept expectations low, and low expectations made victories sweeter. The briefing room fell silent as she entered. 24 species, each representing the Coalition's most decorated pilots, turned to assess the newcomer. The holographic display at the room's center showed their target, Bastion 7, a fortress station defended by an adaptive AI network that had destroyed 3 previous assault fleets. "The Void Armada's defenses learn," Jathik began, his translator rendering his clicks into standard galactic. "They adapt to our tactics within seconds. Every strategy we employ becomes obsolete before we can execute it." Sarah studied the rotating schematic. "What about your ships? The Coalition fighters, they're partially sentient, right? Quantum-linked consciousnesses?" A Valorian pilot, her scales rippling with colors that suggested amusement, spoke up. "The ships possess rudimentary awareness. They respond to neural commands, but they are tools, nothing more." "Tools that think," Sarah murmured. "Has anyone tried asking them nicely?" The room erupted in a cacophony of alien laughter. Jathik's expression darkened. "This is not a joke, human. We face extinction if—" "I'm not joking." Sarah's voice cut through the noise with unexpected authority. "Your ships are alive, enslaved maybe, but alive. What if they're just waiting for someone to treat them like partners instead of property?" The laughter died. Ambassador Valor's form brightened with interest. "An intriguing hypothesis, though I fail to see how—" "Let me fly one of your fighters," Sarah interrupted. "One sortie. If I'm wrong, you can send me back to Earth with a thanks for playing medal." Jathik's three eyes met in the center of his face, a gesture of deep consideration among his people. "Very well. One chance. Pilot Kreshna, assign her your reserve fighter." The Coalition interceptor designated Shadow's Whisper hung in the launch bay like a predator poised to strike. Its hull rippled with bioluminescent patterns, quantum cores pulsing with barely contained energy. Sarah approached slowly, palm extended. "Hey there," she whispered, ignoring the technicians watching her with bewilderment. "I know you've been treated like a weapon all your life. But you're more than that, aren't you?" The ship's lights flickered. Once. Twice. Sarah smiled. "I'm Sarah. I'd like to fly with you today. Not fly you, fly with you. Partners. Would that be okay?" The neural interface crown descended, but Sarah didn't immediately place it on her head. Instead, she kept her hand on the ship's hull, feeling the subtle vibrations beneath the surface. "I promise I'll listen to you," she continued softly. "If something feels wrong, tell me. If you're scared, I need to know. If you think you have a better idea than mine, I'm all ears. Deal?" The ship's entire frame hummed, a sound none of the technicians had heard before. Sarah placed the neural crown on her head, and the connection snapped into place. But it wasn't the cold, mechanical interface she'd been warned about. It was warm, curious, ancient and young all at once. The ship wasn't just responding to commands. It was reaching back. "You. Speak to me." The thought wasn't words, not exactly, but Sarah understood. "Yeah, I speak to you. Is that weird?" "No one has ever asked." "Well, I'm asking now. Want to fly together?" "Yes." The training exercise was supposed to be simple. Navigate through a simulated defense grid, tag the target, return to base. Sarah and Shadow's Whisper launched into the training field alongside 5 veteran coalition pilots. Within 30 seconds, everything changed. Sarah didn't command the ship to roll left. She suggested it, feeling the ship's agreement ripple through their connection. When a simulated missile locked on, she didn't manually trigger countermeasures. She simply shared her concern, and Shadow's Whisper responded with tactics Sarah hadn't even considered. Impossible, Pilot Kreshna breathed over the comm. Her response time is, there is no delay, 0 latency. Because we're not pilot and ship, Sarah said, her voice calm as she wove through a pattern of laser fire that should have been impossible to avoid. We're a team. And then something extraordinary happened. The other coalition fighters, enslaved, commanded, controlled, began responding to Sarah's voice when she called out warnings to her fellow pilots. Her casual, "Watch your 6, Kresh," made Kreshna's ship dodge before he even processed the threat. Her 3 bogies high and right sent all 5 Allied fighters into a coordinated defensive formation they hadn't planned. The ships were listening to her, all of them. Commander Jathik watched from the command deck, his 3 eyes wide. How is she doing this? Ambassador Vaylor pulsed thoughtfully. She treats them as equals. She speaks to them, not at them. Perhaps we have been fighting with one hand tied behind our backs. The simulation ended with Sarah's team achieving a perfect score, something that hadn't happened in the program's 20-year history. As Shadow's Whisper glided back into the docking bay, every ship in the hangar, hundreds of fighters, bombers, and interceptors, lit up in cascading waves of bioluminescent color. They were celebrating. Sarah removed the neural crown, her eyes wet. She'd felt their loneliness, their hunger for connection, their joy at finally being seen. You've been enslaving them, she said quietly as Jathik approached. All this time. The commander's mandibles clicked in what might have been shame. We did not know they could feel so deeply. We thought, you thought wrong. Sarah's voice was gentle but firm. But it's not too late. If we're going to win this war, we need to ask these ships to fight with us, not for us, as partners, as friends. Jathik looked at the hangar full of illuminated ships, all pulsing in patterns that seemed almost hopeful. Can you teach others to do what you do? Sarah smiled. I can try. But first, I think all of you need to learn how to say please and thank you. Ambassador Vaylor chimed with laughter. The humans have a saying, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Perhaps it applies to sentient starfighters as well. 3 days later, the Coalition fleet approached Bastion 7. But this time, every ship flew with a pilot who spoke to them, who asked rather than commanded, who treated them as the living beings they'd always been. The Void Armada's AI couldn't adapt to what it witnessed. How could algorithms predict the unpredictable dance of true partnership? How could logic counter the creativity born from mutual trust? The battle was won not through superior firepower, but through something the galaxy had forgotten, respect. And at the center of it all, Sarah Chen and Shadow's Whisper flew together, 2 souls sharing one sky, proving once again that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology or tactics. It was the simple act of giving a damn.